everyone, welcome in my online classroom. I am Mohammad Jamal, Associate Professor in the Department of Management, Mohammedpur Kendiya College, Dhaka. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Principal Professor Sir Jafar Ali Sir gives his permission and advises to conduct the online classes. Students, I hope you all are well. Because of the COVID-19 breakout in the pandemic situation of the world, we are bound to staying at home, but it does not mean we can sit idle. We have to work for our next days. I am here to take your online class. I hope you all will give attention to my online class. Today I will take your class on strategic management, BBA professional, 4th year 7th semester, 5th chapter, strategy formulation. Now the question is being discussed. And the first question, what is strategy formulation? And the second question, discuss the steps in strategy formulation process. And third question, discuss the different levels of strategy. And the last question, explain the value chain activity of an organization. Now the question is discussed. And the first question, what is strategy formulation? Strategy formulation is the process of determining appropriate course of action company takes to achieve their defined goals. In the broad sense, strategy formulation is the process of choosing the best corporate as well as business course of action for an organization so that it achieves the goals and objectives set by it. Formulation of strategy is a creative and analytical process. It is a process because particular functions are performed in a sequence over the period of time. The process involves a number of activities and their analysis to arrive at a decision. Some definition of strategy formulation are mentioned below. It is Bushan defines strategy formulation is the process of determining appropriate course of action for achieving organizational objectives and thereby accomplishing organizational purpose. And the McEdogo define strategy formulation is the process of developing the strategy and the process by which an organization chooses the most appropriate course of action to achieve its defined goals. According to Alex Sage, strategy formulation means crafting a combination of strategies and picking out the best one to achieve the organizational goals and objectives and thereby reaching the vision of the organization. And the some characteristics of the definition setting the vision and mission of the company, performing SWOT and other environmental checks to evaluate macro and micro environment, setting very specific quantitative goals. For example, a 20% increase in revenue, setting up the whole organization and all departments so that they work in the set together. Review of the current status of organization. It set target and status of the competitions. Evaluating the available alternatives and choosing the best among them to be the strategy for the organization. Finally, we can say that strategy formulation refers to the process of choosing the most appropriate course of action for the realization of organization goals and objectives and thereby achieving the organizational visions. And the next question, steps in strategy formulation process. In the first step, define the organization. In the second step, define the strategic mission. Define the strategic mission. And the third step, define the strategic objectives. And the fourth point, define the competitive strategy. And the fifth point, implement strategy. And the last point, evaluate progress. Evaluate progress. That is the 6 steps of strategy process. And the first, define the organization. Second, define the strategic mission. And the third, define the strategic objectives. Define the competitive strategy. And the fifth, implementing strategy. And the last point, evaluate progress. Now the steps is discussed below. Define the organization. The first step in define an organization is to identify the company's customers. Without a strong customer base whose needs are being filled, an organization will not be successful. A company must identify the factors that are valued by its customer. And the second step, define the strategic mission. Strategic mission is the important steps in strategy formulation process. An organization's strategic mission offers a long-range perspective of what the organization strives for going forward. A clearly stated mission will provide the organization with a guide for carrying out its plans. Elements of a strong strategic mission statement should include the values that the organization holds, the main nature of the business, special ability or position the organization. And the third stage, define the strategic objectives. The strategic formulation process requires an organization to identify the performance targets needed to reach clearly stated objectives. These objectives may include market position relative to the competition, production of goods and services, desired market share, improved customer service, corporation expansion, advantage in technology, and sales increases. That is the objective of strategic formulation process. And the fourth, define the competitive strategy. Strategy formulation requires an organization to determine where it fits into the marketplace. This applies not only to the organization as a whole, but to each individual unit and departmental throughout the enterprise. Each area must be aware of the role within the company. That is the competitive strategy. And the next point, implement strategy. That is important process in this question. Now, the implement strategy is only effective if it is put into place. An organization may take all the necessary steps to understand the marketplace, define it, and identify the competitors. However, without implementing the strategy, the organization will be the little to no value. And the next steps and last is evaluate progress. As in any plan, a regular evaluation of process and result is vital to ongoing success. An organization must keep track of the progress it is making as defined by the strategic plan. If goals are not being met, the organization must be adaptable and flexible to recognize the changes may be needed. An organization should consider the following question on the continuous basis and under the evaluate progress. Have market condition change that may require a change in corporate decision? Are there new entrants in the marketplace to competitive threat? Has the organization been success to translating their strategy and accountable steps. We can say that a strategy plan is a living document that changes and grows as the conditions around it change. If an organization recognizes that it must constantly be aware of the business world. So, strategy formulation process is the best corporate as well as business course of action for an organization to achieve the goals and objectives set by it. And the next question, different levels of strategy. Corporate level strategy, business level strategy, and functional level strategy. Corporate level strategy, business level strategy, functional strategy. That is the levels of strategy. Now the levels is discussed. And the first, business level strategy and corporate level strategy, functional level strategy. Corporate level strategy. The first level of strategy in the business world is corporate strategy, which sits at the top to the heap. Before we dive into deeper, more specific strategy, we need to outline a general strategy that is the going to oversees everything else that we do. Corporate strategy will outline exactly what business we are going to engage in and how we plan to enter and win those markets. That is a corporate level strategy. And the business level strategy. It is the best to think of this level of strategy as a step down from the corporate strategy level. In other words, the strategies that you outline at this level are silently more specific and they usually relate to the smaller business within the larger organizations. And the third levels, functional strategy. This is the day-to-day strategy that ongoing to the keep our organization moving in the right direction. Just as some business fail to plan from a top level perspective, other business fail to plan in this bottom level. This level of strategy is purpose the most important of all the organization. As without a daily plan, we are going to be in a natural while our competitive continues to drive forward in the day-to-day or everyday planning in a strategy, then applying in the organizational objectives and thereby accomplishing organizational purpose. That is functional strategy. And the next question, value chain activities of an organization. Value change of an organization. This is important question in this chapter. There are two types of value chain activities: the primary activities and functional activities. Primary activities and functional activities, that is the two types value chain of an organizational activities. And the primary activities: inbound logistics and operation, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and service. This is the important in these sites. And the support activities: procurement, technology development, human resource management, and farm infrastructure. That is functional activities. Inbound logistics are the receiving, storing, and distributing of raw materials used in the production process. And operation is the stage in which our raw materials are turned into the final product. Outbound logistics is the distribution of the final product to consumers. Marketing and sales involves advertisement, promotions, sales force organization, distribution channel, pricing, and managing the final product to ensure it the targeted to the appropriate consumer groups. And the service refers to the activities needed to maintain the product performance after has been produced, and includes things the installation, training, maintenance, repair, warranty, and after sales service, warranty, guarantee, and other sites. And the support activities are helps to the primary functions. Procurement. Procurement is how the raw materials for the product are obtained. Technology development can be used in the research and development stage in how new products are developed and designed, and it process automation. Human resource management. Human resource management includes the activities involve the hiring and retaining the proper employees to help design, build, and market the product. Farm infrastructure is the support activities of the primary levels or primary functions. And the support activities is refers to the organization structure and its management, planning, accounting, finance, and quality controls or controls mechanisms. That is the value chain of an organization in the primary activities and functional activities. These activities are important to the development of organizational objectives and accomplishing organizational purpose. At the end of my class, hope you all enjoy it. We pray for everyone. Almighty, I am requesting you stay at home and be safe.